I'm just back from the launch of the Walking and Cycling Index for 2023, which is a big report that Sustrans, an active travel organisation, does every 2 years across cities in the UK. I was very fortunate to be a very small part of it, contributing a little case study about why e-bikes, I think, are awesome. And like why they unlock so much freedom and independence and delight for me. You can download the report from the Sustrans website, but there's two stats from it that I wanted to point out and pull out. The first is, since the last time the report was done, in 2021, the use of cycling for commuting to work has risen. But actually, the use of cycling for everything else, social, personal business, shopping, has declined. And I think the reason for that is that cycling just occupies particular niches in people's minds. For most people, cycling is a thing you do at the weekend for exercise, or indeed it is a thing you do as a alternative to driving, either because you don't want to use your car for environmental or cost reasons, or frankly because you don't have access to a car because you don't have the money to buy one. And I really reel against this. I think that cycling can and should be an integral part of everybody's lives. Everybody's lives? No, not everybody's lives, but far, far, far more people's lives than currently. For errands, for going to see friends, for taking rubbish to the dump, as you've seen me do far too often on e-bike nugs. Particularly with an e-bike, which removes a lot of the physical barriers. They're still expensive, I understand that, I get that. But particularly with an e-bike, they can fit into your lives in such phenomenal ways. As you see me on the channel, I cycle to London on my bike, because I'll cycle to the station here, get on the sleeper train, go down to London, and then go to my meetings, showered and fresh, ready to go, on my bike with a sat-nav. It's great. But I think most people don't think about bikes in that way. They don't think that that's an option. Or it's not even that they go, shall I take the car or shall I take the bike? It's not even part of their mental model for how they get around the world. But if you have a bike, and you get to know it and love it and use it well, understand, sure, some of the limitations, and sure, some of the safety concerns. I'm very fortunate of being somebody who's male, middle-aged, middle class. I can travel at night without worry, particularly on my bike. Anyway, all that to say, if you can integrate a bike into part of your thinking about how you get around in the world, you can use it for almost everything. We still have a car. I still like my car. I love driving. If there were better rideshare options, and especially if cars could autonomously deliver themselves to my house on those occasions when we need a car, we wouldn't have a car. I'd be sad about that a little bit, because I like driving, I like cars. But we wouldn't have a car in that case, because 90% of the trips that I do are on the bike. The other thing to bring out from that report is, and this is why Sustrans do this report, right? Because they need to arm themselves with data to be able to point at a PDF and tell policymakers to give us more money. I can't remember the numbers. Go and look it up on the website and download the report. But there is an overwhelming majority of people who have an appetite to do more cycling, walking and wheeling in Dundee, the city where I live. And the same is replicated across the country. There are barriers. Safety, infrastructure, cost, cycle parking, bunch of different things stopping people. Dropped curbs. We talked so much today about dropped curbs for people in wheelchairs, prams. There are barriers stopping people accessing active travel, but people want to. There's far more people who want to do active travel than who... Let's just wait. I think we'll just wait. Far more people who want to do active travel than who want to spend more money on car and road infrastructure. So our job then is twofold. First, I think it is incumbent on us, those of us who like cycling, who've made it part of our lives, made it part of our identities. Hell, I've got a goddamn YouTube channel about this stuff. I never would have pegged myself as much of a cyclist, never mind somebody who's so passionate about it, he'd publish content about it. So those of us who have made the bike part of our lives, it's incumbent on us, I think, to gently, politely, without being an arsehole, show, don't tell, but show how convenient it is. Take your bike, like do the weekly shop with a trailer, take your kid to school in a little trailer, get some panniers. Show people that having a bike is not the poor person's option. There's no shame in that. That's how it's often perceived by people. There's no shame in having a bike. It's astonishing to me that and I guess I would have done it as well before I was a cyclist, but if I tell people that I cycle most of the time, they're either impressed or they're kind of like dubious, like, oh, that sounds a bit crap. Brilliant. Look at the fucking weather, man. Look at this ride I'm on. The weather's glorious. I deliberately wore a suit today, not because I needed to for work, but to make the point when I was at the Sustrans launch event that, when you're riding an Ebike in particular, you don't have to dress for the ride, you dress for the destination. Let me just get past this guy. Thank you. Barring disability, and without being a dick about, people's legitimate concerns about cycling, or about safety, or indeed, of course, about cost of buying an e-bike, all these things, setting aside all the very, very good caveats I could put to this sentence, who the fuck wouldn't want to do this? Who the fuck wouldn't want to glide, fly, soar, swoop along this path with the gorse blooming to my left, the Tay to my right? Who wouldn't want to do this rather than sit in a car? About to run down your dog. Not actually going to run down your dog, obviously, but there are polite signs that ask people to control their dogs. Anyway, it's a very long video. Sustrans report is out, Walking and Cycling Index. Proud to be a part of it. Go and read it, go and see what you think. Let's show people how cycling can be a joyful and positive part of their lives. And then, on the other point about the appetite for active travel solutions in cities and walkable cities, keep agitating politely. You don't have to be a dick about it. But for example, I know that in Dundee shortly there's going to be an anti-low emission zone protest in the city centre. People who are opposing active travel can be very vocal. We can fight that with kindness and with joy, but now also, thanks to Sustrans, with data. Because we know that here in Dundee and across the UK, people have an appetite. They want more active travel opportunities. Because of course they fucking do!